as in right now, as Detroit taking on a Cleveland team who's not won yet on the road in this postseason. They had home court in round one against Orlando. Not the case here against the 1 seed. Early on, Tobias Harris with the miss, but the steal from Duncan Robinson, and that's the wrong guy to leave all alone. He cashes that triple. He had a big 17-point night. That mustache is something. Off the miss here, it's a scramble that leads to an Ausar Thompson loose ball gather and layup. Early on, the lead is 5. Donovan Mitchell with the scoop. Tobias Harris hits the deck as the handles. He gets tripped up or
nah.
Now he just fell down.
Yeah, and he laid down.
Hold on. It's fine. Corner 3, midway through the third, and Mitchell hits that 4-point game. The lead's back to 7. The handoff to Mitchell. Deep 3. Off glass. Take it how you can get it. 11 in the third for Mitchell. It's a 4-point game heading into the fourth. Familiar script, right? First game, a lot like this one. Got close in the fourth, and that's when Detroit's offensive efficiency kicked in. There's Cade with a 3. The lead's to 5. Then it's Harris working on Max Strus. Harris has 7 consecutive games with 20 or more, which ties for the longest streak of his professional career. It's a 7-point game. Cunningham. Step back on Strus. That's filthy work. 25 and 10 for the former number 1 overall pick. The lead's now 9. Now, 6-point game late. Harden just loses it. It's a 30th career playoff game where he's got more turnovers than made field goals. 4 turnovers, 3 made field goals. Detroit, second game in a row, wins a close game in the end by 10, and they have taken the first 2 against the Cavaliers. Cade has put up at least 25 and 10 for the third time in this postseason, which ties Isaiah Thomas in 85 for the most in Detroit postseason history. Cunningham played the entire fourth quarter, better known as winning time, scoring a dozen of his 25 in that final frame. He offered these thoughts after the win.
I just want to win games. You know, it's been a lot of games down the stretch where it's tight and ball's in my hands and I got to make plays with it. So it's high stakes at the end of the game is what I'm trying to say. And you know, you got to make plays. So I think all of that stuff fuels me, but you know, just trying to do the best by my team.
I mean, Cade is just fabulous. You know, he's the killer, closer, you know, all of the adjectives you want to talk about, like he's it. And in the fourth quarter, you know, he does his best work.
Did you feel like you should have been more aggressive kind of looking back on it?
I mean, it's me, you know, it's a team game, you know what I mean? So if the ball's moving, you know, what you just commented on, the ball moving, we're getting shots, you know, then that's for the betterment of the team, you know what I mean? So I think the best thing about it is just getting really, really good shots and, you know, and then kind of finding a combination of, you know, when to be aggressive and when to, you know, get the team shots.
As promised, Kendrick Perkins back to discuss the Eastern Conference semis. Detroit has a 2-0 lead over Cleveland and Perk. Both these games very similar. Double-digit wins for the Pistons in each, close in the fourth. They were offensively very efficient in the fourth of both of these games. In the first round, felt like we said they look like a 1 seed. They look like a 1 to me now. What are you seeing from the Pistons?
Well, Scott, I mean, you're right. We all was questioning them in the first round, but I think it was a blessing in disguise for them that they had to go through that first round battle with the Orlando Magic to find themselves, because the biggest thing that we all was worried about was who was going to be that next guy, that offensive weapon outside of Cade. The Cavs came out with a game plan to trap Cade early, and Cade trusted his teammates, and his teammates started to make plays and make open shots. That's why we saw Duncan Robinson and Tobias Harris and Jenkins, you know, they were in double digits tonight. And then when you get late into the fourth, all of a sudden they got a level of confidence, the role players, and we saw them knock down timely shots and make big plays. And that's what happens when a young team is at home and they got confidence, and that's the advantage of having home court advantage.
Perk, I think numbers we can use to tell whatever story we want, especially with the NBA. If you hate a guy, you're going to say this. If you like a guy, you're going to say the other. James Harden in 2 games has more turnovers than made buckets. And I'm not a hater. I'm just reading numbers, Perk. Go ahead. I see you leaning back in your chair.
Because, Scott, it's not hating. It's facts
I know.
over feelings. And it's facts over feelings. And we're not in our feelings, and he shouldn't be in his feelings because we're going to state the obvious. The obvious is that he should not be playing the minutes that he's playing right now. James Harden is being a liability on both ends of the floor. He's not there. He's costing his team's possessions. And on top of that, he's not defending anyone. They tried to put him on Cunningham, and Cade just went to work on him. And again, we're not taking anything from James Harden of the past, but we're talking about the James Harden of now. And Kenny Atkinson had some interesting comments after the game in his post-game interview, Scott. He said, it's on me. I'll take the blame for only getting James Harden 2 shots in the fourth quarter. And I'm sitting up here listening, and I said, what? What? That's what you come to the podium talking about? No, how about a lineup adjustment and taking him out the game? And Scott, let me tell you this. Last but not least, Evan Mobley is the most important player on the Cavs team, in my opinion. We know Donovan Mitchell is arguably the best player. There's no way in hell he leaves out of that game with 1 rebound, knowing that you got to bring a certain level of physicality and tenacity in order to beat the Detroit Pistons. Unacceptable, no excuses whatsoever from a former defensive player of the year.
Cleveland knows what it's up against when they go back to the land. They're going to need to defend the home floor and then some if they want to get back into this series. I want to add a quick one on the way out about another series that shifts venues. As Shams Charania reported earlier on Thursday, OG Anunoby has a hamstring issue, and Joel Embiid also questionable for Game 3. OG means a ton to that Knicks squad. We know what Joel means to Philadelphia. What's your sense of what their availability might mean moving forward in the short term?
Well, look, the Knicks have to protect OG Anunoby at all costs. To me, Scott, he's the most important player in the NBA for us to their team and their success. I would not play OG Anunoby in Game 3 or 4. I will wait for Game 5 to see how he's feeling. If they need him, then put him back in the lineup. For us, when you're looking at Embiid on the other side of things, they need Embiid. They need Embiid desperately, and we saw that in Game 2 when they couldn't knock down open shots, on the perimeter late in the fourth quarter because Tyrese Maxey was gassed out. Paul George was gassed. And so Embiid brings that balance. If Embiid is not playing, and it could be only limited minutes, the Philadelphia 76ers don't stand a chance in this series.
All right, Perk, I appreciate the time, man. We'll keep an eye on both these series as they change venues, and we will continue our conversation soon. I appreciate the time, my friend.
Appreciate you, Scott.
As SportsCenter continues on the ice, Carolina does something it's not done since their coach was lacing up the skates.